The British Truck Racing Championship making its way to the grid then for their third race of the weekend. It was a bit of an incident-packed day yesterday. We had a tangle at Druids on the first lap of race 1, and then race 2 called early after a blow-up for Ricky Collett. Unfortunately, he won't be on the grid for this race. It looks like he has withdrawn from the weekend after a spectacular exit from yesterday's second race. The grid is based on the results of race 1 yesterday, but with the top 8 in Division 1 reversed and the full Division 2 field reversed because they have 5 entries. So the grid lines up as follows. It's Division 1 newcomer John Bowler who will start on pole in number 14, his MAN, alongside the Iveco of number 68, Craig Reed. Second row, number 46, Bradley Smith in his MAN, alongside the 10 times champion, number 7, Stuart Oliver in the Volvo VNL. Row 3, the Iveco of Simon Reed, number 89, alongside 69 of David Jenkins with his MAN. On row 4, it is the reigning 7-time champion Ryan Smith in the Daimler Freightliner number 1, alongside 92 Simon Faulkner with his Iveco. Row 5, 86 Tom O'Rourke had a tough day yesterday, ended up in the gravel in race 2 and broke the steering on his MAN. Lines up alongside Simon Cole, number 41, with his MAN, graduating to Division 1 this year. Row 6, number 32 Jock Borthwick picked up a fair amount of damage in a collision with Stephen Powell in yesterday's first race, but managed to repair his MAN. Stephen Powell does line up alongside him, and number 12 Michael Oliver with his MAN, son of Stuart, completes the Division 1 grid. Then there's a gap and we move to Division 2. The grid reversed from the results of race 1, so it's Jim Bennett, number 28 in his venerable Seddon Atkinson, who lines up on pole alongside number 10 Craig Evans with his MAN. The number 6 of John Powell in the DAF, he had a win yesterday, as did the man alongside him, number 5 Adam Bint with the Volvo Whites. And completing the grid, number 22 Paul Rivette in his MAN, the Napa Racing MAN. He missed race 1 yesterday, was replacing the gearbox in his MAN, but he is there this time. He's at the back of this grid. It looks like we have, pleasingly, a full complement. The only truck missing has officially withdrawn. That's sadly Ricky Collett, who saw his engine go bang rather spectacularly in race 2 yesterday and deposit oil over the Sir Jack Brabham Straight, which led to the race being called early. It's John Bowler on pole in the number 14, the man from Stockport. Stuart Oliver nicely positioned on row 2. He could get down the outside into Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. There's Tom O'Rourke, a poor day for him yesterday, looking for better fortune today. There's Jim Bennett, great to have him back, 73 years young and still going strong, back after a couple of years away in the Seddon Atkinson. Division 2 much more open this year. The defending champion Luke Garrett not out this weekend. We'll wait to see if he reappears later in the season. A couple of drivers that raced in the UK last year, Mark Taylor and John Newell, they're contesting the European Championship this year. I think Luke looking to race in Europe as well. Paul Rivette at the back in the Napa Racing MAN. Watch for him coming through in Division 2. This will be a 15-minute race. Here we go. The big rigs ready to rumble on the Brands Hatch Indy circuits. Bennett alongside Craig Evans looking for his first Division 2 win. There's Adam Bint in the Volvo. John Powell alongside him. They had a win each yesterday. Paul Rivette behind them, the ex-saloon car star. Here we go. John Bowler and Craig Reed lead them up towards the red lights. Over 19,000 horsepower about to be unleashed. Here we go, the power comes on and they're away down towards Paddock Bend for the first time. Good start by Stuart Oliver, good start by David Jenkins, but it's the 2 front row men who have the advantage into Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. John Bowler, is he going to keep his nose in front as they go towards Druids, and off wide goes one of our front row men. That was Craig Reed. He's dropped back, just ran over the gravel there, but he's kept it going. There's a bit of slip and slide in the pack, and Stuart Oliver has come through as I expected into the lead. Stuart Oliver leads in the Volvo from 4th on the grid. It's side by side for second, John Bowler and David Jenkins. Great cloud of dust in the background where Craig Reed ran wide. A bit of grass tracking there for Jock Borthwick. 3 wide through Graham Hill Bend. That doesn't work in cars, never mind in trucks. 92 of Simon Faulkner got squeezed in the middle there. Bradley Smith has dropped back a little in the 46. He's battling with the Reed brothers. Wait to see what the order is as they come round to complete the opening lap. Looks like it is Stuart Oliver who's got the lead, and Ryan Smith is in heavy traffic there in the midfield. Stuart Oliver's away and gone in front. David Jenkins having a go at John Bowler for second place. Then it's the first of the Reeds. Which one is that? That's Simon Reed in fourth place. Craig, of course, ran wide on the first score. Impossible to tell the two Ivicos apart from a distance. David Jenkins trying to go through into second place past John Bowler. They head up towards Druids. Ryan Smith is in traffic at the moment. He was down in sixth at the end of the first lap. Side by side for third. Simon Reed trying to move past John Bowler. David Jenkins has already gone through up into second place. There's Flying Ryan. That's a stunning looking Daimler Freightliner, the bonneted number one, just ahead of Jock Borthwick in the 32. But look at the lead Stuart Oliver has built up already. He needs to build a good lead, because in case Ryan Smith does get through this traffic, he's having a go at Bradley Smith and John Bowler now. John Bowler holding him off. New to Division 1 this year. On their tails is Jock Borthwick, desperate to make up for a frustrating day yesterday, as is Tom O'Rourke. He's on the tail of Craig Reed. Ryan Smith having a look. There's no way through there on the inside down the Brabham Straights. Stuart Oliver leads. Over 3 seconds clear of David Jenkins. Look at the lead he's got there as he heads out of Paddock Bend. 10 times champion still leads, and John Bowler still holding off Ryan Smith, who now gets to run on the inside up towards Druids Hill Bend. Here he comes, on board with Ryan as they go round the right-hander, steering the truck one-handed, keeping his other hand on the gear lever through there. He's got through past the number 14. I think Bowler's lost another place. I think Jock Borthwick may have come through as well. We look back from David Jenkins in second place to Simon Reed's Iveco in third. It's the veteran from the northeast of England, Stuart Oliver, who holds the lead. A spin at the back of the field. That's Jim Bennett, the veteran in the Seddon Atkinson, sliding off at Surtees. He's learning the ropes on his comeback after a couple of years away. Possibly a bit race rusty, the veteran. A veteran truck as well as Seddon Atkinson. They haven't been made since about 2006. The Lancashire firm, I think, was bought out by Iveco. Here comes Tom O'Rourke attacking John Bowler. We ride with Flying Ryan Smith. Who's he attacking now? Coming up on the back of, I think that's Bradley Smith, no relation, in the 46, fighting for fourth position. So Ryan Smith's made up a few spots. Along the Cooper Straight, that's Craig Reed a bit sideways. Michael Oliver's rather battered MAN behind him. Ryan Smith on the tail of the 46 of his namesake Bradley Smith, the youngest man in the race. As the leaders head up towards the line, completing their fourth lap. Just under 11 minutes of the race to go. Jim Bennett's got going again, just being lapped there by David Jenkins and Simon Reed. Gentleman Jim trying to stay out of the way of the Division 1 trucks there. Bradley Smith's had to go wide around him there. That could let Ryan Smith in for an attack into Druids. Yes, he's got the inside line. Ryan up the inside, squeezes through and up into fourth place. Now, next target, a little way up the road, is Simon Reed. Let's have a quick look back and see who's leading Division 2. It's Craig Evans, the number 10. One truck getting the black and white flag, which is the driving standards flag. That's Jock Borthwick running in 6th place. But he did cut across the grass at Graham Hill Bend on the opening lap. That's probably why he's got the warning there for exceeding track limits, possibly. Simon Reed staying with David Jenkins. Simon had 4 wins in last year's championship in Division 1. David Jenkins also had 4. Finished a little further down the points chart. David Jenkins was the runner-up last year, in fact, and Simon Reed was down in 7th. Didn't have the consistency to challenge the top runners. I think it was John Newell who finished 3rd in Division 1 in the points last year. He's gone to race on the continent in his MAN this year, the Yorkshireman. We might see him back at Convoy in the Park, possibly at Donington later in the summer. That's Oliver from Jenkins. Jenkins just ahead of Simon Reed, and look who's charging up in the background. There is Flying Ryan. He's done the fastest lap of the race, 59.307 for the Daimler Freightliner. Steam coming from the wheels of David Jenkins. That's from the water-cooled brakes that these trucks run. Showing how hard David Jenkins is working the brakes. We saw that yesterday as well from the MAN. It's Volvo, MAN, Iveco and Daimler Freightliner. 4 different marks in the top 4 places. Behind them Bradley Smith, Jock Borthwick, then Tom O'Rourke, Michael Oliver. There's John Bowler, he's dropped back to 9th, and there's Stephen Powell. A quiet race for him, and damage to the front of Craig Reed's truck. What has happened there? I know he went wide on the first lap, but looks like the front bumper has come adrift on Craig Reed's truck. He's 11th, ahead of Simon Faulkner. And then we've got the Division 2 runners. Craig Evans is leading them. He's looking for his first ever Division 2 win. He's had a few podiums in the past. New fastest lap of the race for Ryan Smith last time through. 58.876. Can't tell you how long there is to go in the race because the clock on the timing screen isn't working, unfortunately. 7 laps completed this time. There we go, just under 8 minutes. Over the line go the Division 1 leaders. Stuart Oliver's lead has been reduced to 2 seconds now by David Jenkins. But clearing off early at the start like that is exactly what Stuart Oliver wanted to do, because he knows that the likes of Jenkins and Smith will try their hardest to close that gap. So it was important to build it as early as he could. And try and build enough of a lead. Again, a bit like in a cycle race. You've got to break away early. Hope you've built too much of a gap for the others to catch up. Ryan Smith is now on the tail of the 89 of Simon Reed. This is the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Bradley Smith going well, just behind them. Had a couple of podiums in his first full season last year. He was racing trucks even before he was old enough to have an HGV licence, because the only licence you need to race trucks is an ARDS licence, Association of Racing Driver Schools. You don't need to take a separate licence for trucks. That's why we've seen Paul Rivette make the move into truck racing from cars. And here's our Division 2 leader, the Brown Recycling Limited MAN of Craig Evans. Now, can he hold on in front for his first ever victory in the category? He's had several podiums in the past, but has not taken a win. He's ahead of John Powell by 1.5 seconds at last count. Paul Rivette is 3rd in Division 2, ahead of Adam Bitts. Jim Bennett, of course, we saw have a spin early on. Simon Cole's dropped back into the Division 2 runners as well. There's that truck of Craig Evans with the front bodywork loose after he ran wide early on. He has got ahead of Simon Faulkner's similar Iveco Stralis. I think that's an ex-Reed truck that he's driving, re-liveried for this year. Getting closer and closer for 2nd place now. Take a look at the lap times as they cross the line. 6 minutes of the race to go. Stuart Oliver does a 59.503, his personal best lap of the race. Yeah, Ryan Smith did a 59.9. He's being held up somewhat behind Simon Reed's Iveco. It's a slightly slower truck, that one, and he's going to be getting a little bit frustrated, although Ryan has dropped back slightly there, so maybe he had a moment on that last lap. You can see he's dropped back about a couple of lengths from Simon Reed, who's continuing to harry David Jenkins for 2nd place. David's father Tony was a truck racer before him, used to race an American-built Mack in the British Championship. Here's the battle further back for 9th place between John Bowler and Stephen Powell. Stephen went straight on into Druids for the first time in yesterday's race, unfortunately. Never mind that, because look at the way Simon Reed is going. He's right up alongside David Jenkins, but that's left the route through for Ryan Smith. He left the gap there, and Ryan says thank you very much, I'll go through for 3rd place. Now, it won't take him long to have a go at David Jenkins. They are arch rivals, these two. What's the gap to the leader? It's gone out to 3.1 seconds that time through. David Jenkins and Ryan Smith have had a big rivalry on track for several seasons now. And Ryan's moving to the inside. He's not hanging about here. He needs to get past David Jenkins if he's going to stand any chance of charging after Stuart Oliver. Bit of a twitch there coming off Druids. Just under 5 minutes of the race still to go. On board with Ryan Smith, he's on the tail of Jenkins. Is he going to have a look here going into Surtees? I don't think he'll be close enough. Great shot riding on board these trucks are, thanks to Chris Clark for his help with the onboard cameras this weekend. Jenkins defending now. He wants to keep Ryan Smith behind him. The lead gap was 3.1 seconds. It's now gone, have a look as they go over the line. It's still 3.1 seconds. And Simon Reed's not finished yet. Look at the Iveco there, up alongside Ryan Smith, trying to go around the outside into Paddock Bend. And they've got back markers ahead of them now. Stuart Oliver's catching not only Jim Bennett, but Simon Cole as well, struggling a bit this weekend with his new acquisition, Eleanor, the pink and white MAN. Used to be sponsored by Team Hard of touring car fame. Simon Cole used to run the Mercedes Beast, as it was known, in Division 2. First full season in Division 1 this year. Ryan Smith still holding off Simon Reed. Stuart Oliver has got past the back markers on the Cooper straight there, no problem there. Here's the battle in Division 2. It's close between Evans and Powell. Powell only half a second behind now. Can the DAF, the Dutch machine, get ahead of the MAN? Look at this, the leader's weaving between the back markers. That looked pretty spectacular. Hasn't helped Ryan Smith's lap time though, he's lost a couple of seconds there. In fact, they're all slower because of getting through the traffic. Less than 3 minutes to go now. Craig Evans still hanging on in the lead, looking for his first Division 2 win. He's in 13th place overall. Slightly smaller field in Division 2 this year. That's because several runners have moved up into Division 1. John Bowler and Jock Borthwick among them. Simon Cole as well. Still bodywork flapping there from Craig Reed's truck. There's Simon Faulkner coming through. Pick up the Division 2 leaders. Here they come. Just between these two now. Powell is 8 seconds clear of Adam Bint, who's up into 3rd place, ahead of Paul Rivette. A couple of trucks getting the black and white flag. Numbers 10 and 6 is these two getting the driving standards flag, maybe for exceeding track limits. The gap is down to 1.745 seconds for Oliver ahead of Jenkins now. And Ryan Smith still with the fastest lap of the race. They're starting to close in on Stuart Oliver now. They know there's only a couple of laps left to run in this first British truck race of the day. We're on board with Ryan Smith. He's still behind Jenkins. You can see they're slightly closer to Stuart Oliver now. Looking back from Jenkins, there is Smith. Stunning looking Daimler Freightliner. Closer and closer all the time to the rear bumper of David Jenkins' MAN. Is Stuart Oliver going to be able to hold them off? Cloud of dust there, someone's been off. Not sure who it was. There's Paul Rivette, the Napa Racing MAN. Here's a battle between John Bowler, Stephen Powell, and they've been caught by the battered Iveco of Craig Reed. It's not long to go now. We may well be on the last lap now. We'll wait to see as the trucks come round on this lap. The clock is showing 0, but it's been playing up during this race, unfortunately. So we'll wait for the leaders to come into sight. There's Ryan Smith. We look back from David Jenkins. The gap was 1.6 seconds, so I think Stuart Oliver is going to hang on to take the win. And if anything, Ryan Smith's dropping back slightly there from Jenkins. Here they come. Is it going to be checkered flag this time for Stuart Oliver, the man from the northeast, 10 times British champion, 1-time European champion. Here he comes then in the GT tyres Volvo. Is it going to be checkered flag this time? It certainly is. There's the checkered flag. Stuart Oliver wins our first truck race of the day. David Jenkins second. Ryan Smith has to settle for third. Fourth, it is Simon Reed. Bradley Smith takes a good 5th position. Well done, Jock Borthwick, a fine 6th. His fellow Scotsman, Tom O'Rourke, in 7th. 8th, it is Michael Oliver. 9th over the line is going to be John Bowler, just ahead of Stephen Powell, Craig Reed and Simon Faulkner. What about Division 2? Where are the Division 2 trucks? They'll be coming round the final corner now. Is it going to be Craig Evans or John Powell who takes the victory in Division 2? They're coming towards us now. It looks like John Powell's got ahead of Craig Evans. In fact, they come over the line. Yes, it's John Powell. Powell has won it. Craig Evans, a slower lap there on the last lap. I'll wait to see if we can see where John Powell took the lead. Was it Evans who ran wide? We saw that cloud of dust at paddock. It was. Oh, what a shame for Craig Evans. Losing the class win with just a couple of laps to go. What a disappointment for Craig Evans. I saw that cloud of dust. We didn't see the cause of it. And that's what happened. He just ran wide through paddock, and John Powell takes his second Division 1 win of the weekend. Craig Evans still looking for his first ever Division 2 victory. Third place went to Adam Bint in Division 2 ahead of Paul Rivets, and then Simon Cole and Jim Bennett a lap down, completing the finishers. Well, pleasingly, everybody went the distance in race 3 of the weekend for the British Truck Racing Championship here on this Easter Sunday at Brands Hatch. It's a win for the great Stuart Oliver, taking the win by just over a second ahead of David Jenkins at the flag. Ryan Smith having to settle for third this time, so his unbeaten run comes to an end. Fourth for Simon Reed ahead of Bradley Smith, then Jock Borthwick. Better result this time for Tom O'Rourke after a trying weekend so far. Michael Oliver in 8th, John Bowler taking 9th, the pole starter, and 10th place for Stephen Powell. That result incidentally will set the grid for race 5 at the end of the weekend, so it looks like it'll be Michael Oliver on pole. Craig Reed and Simon Faulkner completing the top 12. And then the Division 2 results. Disaster for Craig Evans with a couple of laps left. It was John Powell who inherited the win. Evans second ahead of Adam Bint. And then the other finishers were Paul Rivette, Simon Cole and Jim Bennett.